Good evening.
Good.
How's everybody this evening?
All right.
My name is Kim duBuclet. I am the Director of Legislative and Community Affairs with the Park District. I've only been with the Park District about a year and a half, so I have to say most of the Park Advisory Councils have been around much longer than I have. So they're teaching me things, which is really good. I'm going to talk with you this evening about more of the basics. Lionel did a really good job of talking about technology and how to integrate it with your Park Advisory Council. I'm going to do more explaining to you about how to start a Park Advisory Council, what it takes to be a successful one, and how you can work with the Park District to make sure that we're all on the same page and we're working towards the betterment of our communities and of our parks, which I think is the goal for all of us. Will we not agree?
Yes.
Okay. So in order to start a Park Advisory Council, you just need to fill out paperwork, have 2 officers, a president and a treasurer, have elections once a year, send your paperwork back to my office. We put you into our system. It's a database that we're actually trying to improve upon. And then you become a registered Park Advisory Council. Now, as a registered Park Advisory Council, and in order to stay active, you need to have your elections every year. So we will provide you with a generic set of bylaws that you can download from our website. You can use those bylaws as they are, or you can take them, add to them, or manipulate them and do whatever you want to suit your need for your neighborhood. We ask and we actually will require that your bylaws don't disagree with ours. So for instance, there was one park that said in their bylaws, if you want to be a voting member, you have to pay dues. Now that completely violates the Park District bylaws. You do not have to pay dues in order to vote. Now your bylaws might say you have to pay dues to be a member, or it might say that in order to vote you have to come to 3 consecutive meetings, or it might say you have to come to 6 consecutive meetings. But it can't say, for instance, that you have to pay dues to vote. We work with community members, elected officials, the park staff on the ground, the park supervisors and the area managers, to attend your meetings, to listen to your feedback and your needs. We hope that you run your meetings, that you do your own fundraising, that you become kind of caretakers of the park and fill in the gaps and be the eyes and the ears when we can't see what's going on. Give the feedback to us so that we can better do our job. And I heard Lionel say that Friends of the Park was their fiduciary agent. That is a role that Friends of the Parks have been doing on our behalf for many years. But starting probably in January or sometime next year, the Park District is going to start offering the service of becoming a fiduciary agent for Park Advisory Councils under the lead of Willa laying in the back of the room back there. I see somebody's happy about that.
Chicago Parks Foundation.
I'm sorry, Chicago Parks Foundation.
All right.
Thank you. We don't think it'll be the $100 that Friends of the Parks is charging, but that's to be determined and reconciled. Let's see, what else can I say? You don't have to be a 501(c), nor do you have to have a fiduciary agent to become a Park Advisory Council. If you're not fundraising, if you're not handling money, you're just caretaking the park, you're planting flowers, you're overseeing, you're giving suggestions for programming, then you don't have to have a fiscal agent. That's certainly not a necessity. Fiduciary agents really come into play when you start fundraising and handling money. Would you agree with that, Louise? You've been doing this a long time. I would say Louise McCurry, who's in the back of the room, she is the president of the Jackson Park Advisory Council, Louise, and Lionel, who was here earlier. They are definitely 2 models of Park Advisory Councils that are really well run and could teach other advisory councils how to start and run an effective council. The Park District in my department puts on what's called Park Advisory Council training. We're actually in the process of planning that right now. That's going to happen in March of this year. We do it every year. We invite anybody that's interested in starting a PAC, any existing PAC, anyone that just wants to be an involved community member, whoever wants to come just to learn about Park Advisory Councils. We offer different training sessions, different workshops. It's an opportunity to network. Much of the park staff is there. So it's really an opportunity to learn about what we do, how Park Advisory Councils can be productive, and basically how to have a great council. I think I've done enough talking for now. Do you all have any questions? Yes.
You had mentioned the database of
Park Advisory
Park
Councils?
Advisory Council. Could you talk a little bit about that? You said you were looking to improve it.
So, this meetup is supposed to be about technology. Is that correct? Sort of. I have not, in my department, which handles Park Advisory Councils as well as a variety of other things, have not done the best job of utilizing technology. One of the things we're working towards for 2015, for instance, instead of having to download your forms, download your PDFs, fill them out manually, stick them in the mail, and mail them back to us, to somehow have a way for you to just input all that information online. I know that's just very basic, but that's something that we have not done in the past. And I think that will make everybody's life easier. And then once that form is typed into whatever system we get it into, it just automatically goes into a database. We just recently started adding Park Advisory Council information onto our website. So if there's a park with an active Park Advisory Council, the name and number of the president of that Park Advisory Council is listed, as well as the meeting times, dates, and where they meet. So that's helpful, because oftentimes we used to get calls saying, is there a Park Advisory Council at Buttercup Park? We'd have to go look at our Excel spreadsheet. Now it's all online. Yes, Dan.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, how are you?
Cece.
Hi, Cece.
I'm a grandfather.
Grand Crossing Park Advisory Council President.
Another almost well one.
It is very another model.
Not about, but anyway, I wanted to ask you, the park district has the budget meetings.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you take, do you ever take those in the budget? I mean, what did you decide to do after all the councils and people made comments?
Mm-hmm.
We never hear anything about what happens after. Even though you have a set budget,
Right.
maybe something could come out online about what happened to those comments, what you think about those comments, and what you're going to do.
So what CC is saying, I don't know if you all are familiar, but the Chicago Park District holds annual budget meetings where the public can give feedback and input as to how our budget should be spent. And specifically, Park Advisory Councils will oftentimes speak on behalf of their specific park and whatever capital needs are needed at that park. So Park Advisory Council president might stand up and say, our tennis courts are really are in need of repair, they're in disrepair, and we'd like you to really think about putting money in the budget for the next year for our tennis courts. And so what CC is asking is, when all those Park Advisory Council presidents or community members stand up and give their comments, is there any way to get feedback as to what happens to those comments? Is that right?
Yeah.
I will look into that, CC, and I'll let you know. And I can let the group know. Any other Park Advisory Councils represented here?
No.
No. Okay. Question?
Yeah, I was wondering if you had like some kind of given that some of your residents and councils are not tech savvy and some are, still it improves communication for those that are to do it. So I'm wondering if you have like a community where you share best practices real time online. I mean, you can do this for free, you know.
What kind of community would you suggest?
Well, a wiki or a free social network. It could even be a Facebook group for that thing. You know, I mean, that's really anything.
Any online community where they could kind of chat back and forth.
Like that right now?
There is not anything like that right now.
Okay.
But that is an excellent suggestion. Thank you.
Sure.
Is there anyone here that's interested in starting the Park Advisory Council? No. All right. Any other? Yes.
I wanted to just talk a little bit about the
I think we had another question too. But
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, it's me again.
Yeah, go ahead. Your hands work.
I'm assuming, and I don't like to make assumptions, that what constitutes a park is really defined.
Rarely.
Is it?
What constitutes a park?
Yeah, like, for example, in my community, there might be green patches that are maybe not official parks? And could you, like,
So I think the question is, there could be a green patch of land next to a school that could really be managed and owned by the school district. Or there could be a play lot on school property that's really managed by the school. There could be something that's owned by a residential developer that has built a park that would be managed by that residential community. And would you like to add something, Tanya, or are you coming up here to talk?
Yes, he's doing. This is actually not
Right here.
This
Okay.
is the
Can I-
This is the
this is the control. This is just my own.
Can you go to the homepage?
Sure.
So I think that the question is, if you know where that piece of grass, strip of land, play lot, garden, if we could help you, we can usually always help you find out who that belongs to and who should be the caretaker of it. So if there's something, and let's say the weeds are overgrowing and it looks out of control and no one seems to be taking care of it, give us a call. We can tell you if it's something we should be doing, and if it's not something we should be doing, we can find out who should be doing it and make sure that it's taken care of.
I take it these councils are only
Is that your
for
question, though?
kind of.
Okay.
Only for the official parks,
Correct.
you know, like they're
Correct.
all numbered and all this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Only parks that fall within the park district's
Yeah. Thank you.
control.
And just to
Thank you.
respond quickly to your community question, we have a mind mixer site where it's, you can access it from our homepage and at the bottom. And basically that's a place where you can post questions or respond and ask things, so that's one area.
Mine, where's that?
Mind mixer,
It's on the script.
yeah, if you go to our homepage,
Oh, mine.
at the very bottom it says share your ideas.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one place where you sign up, you can give us your ideas or respond to a question that we post.
Uh-huh.
And then we have a team of folks that look at it regularly and they'll respond to those questions. So that, like what Cece was asking about, if you put something there, there's a way to respond that says it's under review or
Okay.
some kind of
Awesome.
feedback.
Although I think part of what Christopher was saying, and I think this is part of the idea behind this meeting, is for the people who are part of Parks Advisory Councils that would like to learn the secrets of the model councils, are there tools we can use just to connect those people to each other? Whether it's an email list might work if that's the best way to get the people who need to talk, or a Facebook group or whatever, and then following on from that, are there other ways to make what works for the best councils systematic? Obviously, a lot of it is people who are committed and just do old-fashioned, legwork and care. But there may be other things that we can help, if only to spread the word, that would be great. And if also to help people learn about tools that might make it easier for them to be successful, that would be great. So those are the kinds of things that we're interested in fleshing out as part of this process.
And one other thing I want to say before I turn it back over, I did not speak about the benefits of a park advisory council. If you are a registered park advisory council in good standing with the park district, and for instance you would like to lease space in one of our field houses for a community meeting or for a park advisory council meeting, oftentimes as a park advisory council we will give you that room at half cost or less. So there are advantages if you're using the room for park purposes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
And I can give you my phone number if you're interested, or find me on the web.